Okay, today you will be completing this assignment, January 31st, evaluating air quality data with Desmos. Okay, so that assignment can be found right here. And in this case, instead of entering your answers in for Desmos, you're just going to show me, your teacher, your answers, as well as your screen, so I can see to make sure you understand how to do the Desmos histogram accurately. Step number one, let's go get some data. So this link right here will air quality index daily values right here will lead you to the website, which is the official EPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency. For the government, the federal government, they compile data on that. Okay, the first thing is this. So basically here are air quality index daily values. The first thing we want to do is we want to identify a particular pollutant. Now in our assignment it says we're looking for ozone, the pollutant, year 2000, and a geographical area. Why don't we do our own city, Seattle area? Okay, so pollutant, right here you got the different lists. So we're going to go ozone, year 2000, okay, geographical area. Now there's a bunch of cities, so I'm going to press S to go down the menu quicker, and then use my arrow key to go till I hit Seattle. Scroll for a while here. Where are you, Seattle? Seattle. Okay, there you go. Okay, so there we go. Now we could do a county if we wanted a larger area, but again, we're just going to do a city for this example. If you're colorblind, there is something there, but I think we're just going to get table values. Okay, but anyway, those are the three things right there. Hit generate report, and then you'll see this output. You should see this next right here. Okay, make sure double check everything. Okay, next thing is it's listed here, but there's like that's for every day of the year. There's going to be 365 days or 66 days. So we don't want to sit and go through that and enter that into Desmos. But what we want to do is we want to get a spreadsheet. So make sure you click right here, download as a CSV spreadsheet. Click on that. Okay. And then mine downloads over here. I notice on a Chromebook this seems to be come on down here, but then you're going to open this up. Okay. And then you're going to see this right here, okay? You're going to see this chart. Now it shows all the days, every day, all these days right here, starting with January 1st, 2000. And here's a value we're looking for right here, 41, which is considered good. We'll talk about good, medium, bad, etc. later. But anyway, these are the values we want to get. So what we want to do is we're going to put them in a Desmos. Now the next step is to open up a new browser of Desmos. So that we can enter the data. So remember, Desmos is desmos.com. Enter. Get the screen right here, and you click on Open Graph. Okay, so now we're ready to enter in the data. If you remember from our previous lesson, we had to name the data. So I'm going to just call mine S for Seattle. I can name it anything I want. And then equals. Don't do anything else at this point. Don't put a bracket, just S equals. Now we're going to toggle back over to our other sheet, which is right here. Okay. So put your cursor on the very first value that shows up, in this case, January 1st. Hold your Shift button down, and then with your arrow key, you're going to go down like this, and just hold it down until it gets to the very bottom of the data. So you can see right now, we're going to have a lot of data because we got 365 days, but just hold it for a bit, and it'll get there. There we go. So we're at the bottom, and we got it to there. Okay, so all that column should be highlighted. So next step. Now we need to copy the data. So on your keyboard, you hold down Control key and then C, Control C, and then it'll be copied. Now you're going to go back to Desmos, and then your cursor should be right here, and then you're going to paste it there. So that's Control, hold down the Control button and V, and boom. See how nice that is? It puts in all 366 data elements, so we don't have to manually type all of them in, which would be crazy. All right, so there you go. Now, I want to get to the front of this list, so I don't want to hold my arrow key down like that to try to get to the front of the list. It'll take a long time. So I'm going to click outside another field, and then it automatically gets me to the front of my list. So there you go. That'll be helpful when we put in a new data list, okay? Okay.